Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of C++ programming. This is Ashwin, and in this episode we are going to understand how we can write multi-threaded applications with C++ on any Linux or Unix system. Basically, I have got bunch of programs printed on papers like these, and I'm going to explain you each and every line used in this program. We are going to learn how to use the thread library of C++, and all the programs demonstrated in this episode can be executed on any operating system like Mac OS, Linux, Unix, and Windows. For this demonstration, I'm using a FreeBSD as well as a Raspberry Pi OS computer. Both of these operating systems are installed on my collection of Raspberry Pis, and I am accessing them remotely. I am using C++ compiler on FreeBSD to compile these programs, and I am using the G++ compiler on Raspberry Pi for compiling these programs. So let us get started. I have already written a simple sample C++ program in order to show you the demonstration of how to execute a program with C++ as compiler. So that program is cat prog00.cpp. So this is the simple C++ program. So in the very first line, we are including the IO stream, and this is the main section of our program where we are printing the hello world message, and then we are returning success. So the easiest way to compile this is C++ hyphen WALL hyphen std equals to C++20. So we are going to use the C++20 standard for compiling that C++ program prog00.cpp. And if I hit enter, it is going to go ahead and compile that program with C++20 standard, and it has enabled all the warnings. Now the program is compiled and it has generated the executable file, and that executable file is a.out. So it automatically assigns that standard name a.out to that executable file, and it can be launched like this /a.out. And here we have the output of the program. Similarly, we can compile the same program on a Raspberry Pi system with the compiler G++. And that is also quite easy. Just copy the same line of instruction and paste it here in this terminal and replace this C++ with G++, and we are good to go. So this is how we can compile a sample C++ program on two Unix-like operating systems. And let me show you the execution, and this is the output. So we are going to continue using Raspberry Pi terminal for writing, compiling, and executing our C++ programs that have the feature of multi-threading, and I'm going to close the FreeBSD window. But remember that we can always compile the programs on FreeBSD or any Unix-like operating systems with the same compilation instructions. Now this was a very simple program where we were printing hello world. Now let us get into a bit more complex program that is going to use the feature of multi-threading. For writing program, I'm going to use the editor Nano in the beginning, and the program name is going to be prog01.cpp. So let us get started. Hash include iostream. Hash include thread. So this is the inclusion of thread library. Now we are going to go ahead and write a small comment here, and we are going to keep that comment empty. I'm going to paste the instruction to compile this program with the thread library. Now let us write a couple of simple functions. Void foo and if I say std cout, okay, so it automatically, I guess, added the double quote, and /n inside the routine foo. So we are going to use this particular program as a template for all the future programs. So I'm just going to copy and paste all these lines in our future programs too. Now let us define another function known as bar, and let us make it accept an argument of type integer. So inside the routine bar int x. So it has been quite a while since I have written any C++ program. Usually I work with Python and C programming on Arduino platform. And we can also go ahead and print std cout and x. Okay, so we are cool with the definitions of both the functions. Now let us write the part that is known as main function. Int main, and let us type in the return part first. Return 0. Now let us create a thread that is going to accept that function foo as the input. So std thread first. So this is the name of the thread, first, and it is going to accept that foo as an argument. So basically when launched, this thread first is going to run the instructions that we have mentioned in the body of function foo. Similarly, I'm going to copy this entire line and say create another thread known as second, and it is going to invoke the routine bar, and let us pass an argument to that. Now I'm going to say std cout /n inside main Now here we are inside the main thread. So basically whenever you create a multi-threaded application, it is going to create a main thread by default, and then it is also going to create the number of threads that we are telling it to create. So here we are explicitly creating 2 threads, and implicitly it is going to create one main thread. Now we can always synchronize the threads with the join function So I need to use it with the thread objects like this: join and second dot join. So this is how we can synchronize the threads. And I will say std cout /n foo and bar completed. Std cout /n main completed. And we have already added the return statement. So this is a very simple multi-threaded application that is going to create through threads. So the first thread is going to execute the instructions mentioned in this function foo, and the second thread is going to instructions that are mentioned to in the function bar. And implicitly there will be one main thread in which these two threads will be running. So after execution, we are just joining both the threads and printing the messages. And we are not actually doing anything much in the functions except the printing of the messages. Now I'm going to say Control X, clear, and we have to use a special command line option in order to compile this program. So I will say G++ -std equals to C++ 20 -WALL -pthread prog01.cpp. And let me go ahead and compile this. So meanwhile, I will just go ahead and copy this line and I will mention it in the program. And I will say nano prog01.cpp. And let us go ahead and mention this line in the program, so that whenever you are going to go ahead and download this program, you will remember how to compile this program. Let me say clear and let us go ahead and say a.out. Now this is the very first execution of a multi-threaded application and I'm pretty much excited for that. So let's hit enter and see what happens. So here it says inside the routine foo, then it says inside main, and it says inside the routine bar int x, and then it is printing the value 0 as we had instructed it to print. Then it says foo and bar completed and main completed. So let me try to execute this again, and yes, this is the output. This is what I wanted to show you. So basically all these threads are running in parallel. Okay, the main thread, the foo thread and the bar thread. That is why we could see that the order in which it is printing is a bit different. So every time you are going to execute this, the order in which this foo and bar, these messages are printed, it could be different. It is different because there is no real way we can see that thing running in parallel on this command prompt. That's why the interpreter is going to print the messages in the order which is totally random for us. But actually, both of these processes, or to be very frank, both of these threads, they are running in parallel. And there is no way actually we can visualize that parallelism in the command prompt. That is why you can see that the messages that it is actually printing, they will be and they could be different every time we are going to execute this a.out file. So this is the true parallel thread program. Now let us go ahead and write another program. So we have got a bunch of programs to be demonstrated. So I will be demonstrating various features of this thread library in C++. So note that this is not the pthread library, or this is not the POSIX thread library, though it is possible for us to even use the POSIX threads with C++. This is the special library for C++ only. So this is included as the part of new standard. So earlier when this library was not there, we had to use the POSIX thread library for C++ also, and we had to compile the program with the option -lp thread. But now C++ has got its own internal thread library, and we no longer have to rely on POSIX thread library. Basically, this library is also creating POSIX threads. The only thing is that this library is using different mechanism to create POSIX thread. Okay. So I'm going to now write another program demonstrating the usage of lambda expression. So I will just say cp prog01.cpp prog02.cpp, and let us edit that file nano prog02.cpp, and let us define a lambda function, and that is quite easy. So I will delete all this part. Auto f. So this is our lambda expression, and we are going to pass an integer to this. Let us say std cout inside lambda expression, inside lambda expression, and let us print the value of the passed argument. So that is our lambda expression, and I'm going to keep everything very, very short. So let us delete all the unnecessary part, and we will remove this also. And yeah, let's remove these two lines. And now we are yet to make modifications that is going to make calls to this lambda expression. So let us create a thread object. Thread object. So this is just the name of that thread variable. So earlier it was first and second, now it is thread object. And this is how we can pass the lambda expression to that particular thread object. And here we are just going to say thread object dot join thread object dot join, and let us save this and let us try to compile it. I hope that I haven't committed any sort of syntax error or some sort of logical error. So let us see. Okay, it says I committed some mistake. Yes, I now understand what mistake I have committed. So this is the mistake. I am supposed to use a semicolon after that lambda expression. And let us try to compile it once again. And here we go. I will just say a dot out, and here we have the output. And we will try to run this again, and we will get the similar output every time. So now you can see that this inside main and inside lambda expression, they are actually printed a bit random fashion because they are truly running in parallel. And as I told you that there is no way we can show that parallel execution is happening on this command prompt because it has actually very limited visual capabilities. So that is why it is just showing it to us in random fashion. But actually the main thread as well as this lambda expression, they are running in parallel fashion. So let us clear and let me show you now the next program. We can also create a callable object. So cp prog02.cpp into prog03.cpp, and I'm going to say nano prog03.cpp, and I will create a callable thread object. Okay, so let us say class thread object public void operator so here I will use a for loop int I equals to 0 comma I is less than x comma I plus plus. So this is semicolon, this is not comma. I said comma by mistake, sorry for that. And here I'm just going to print the message cout or standard.cout. You can also use the using namespace std in the declaration, and we are going to see a few programs for that. Thread using function object as callable /n and here in the int main I'm using a thread object. Okay, so I will just say thread1, and here I'm going to say thread underscore obj, and here I'm going to pass the argument 3, and finally I will say thread1 dot join and return 0. So here we have a callable object which has been named appropriately as thread underscore object, and let us save this and let us try to compile it. Sorry, I guess I have used the wrong program name. So let us make it prog03.cpp, and it should compile without any problem because I don't remember to have committed any sort of syntax error. So a dot out, and if I hit enter, it executes that entire code, and let us try to execute it again. Okay, because we had passed 3, so it is actually running that entire for loop for 3 times, and it is actually printing thread using function object as callable. Okay, and as we can see here, it has changed the order in which it is printing that inside main and the messages from that thread object. So this means that the thread object as well as the main thread, they are running in parallel. Now let us see the next program. So let me show you a simple program for detaching a thread. So let's say cp prog01.cpp prog04.cpp. So we have copied program 1 into program 4, and let us edit. So now this time let us use the Geany editor, Geany prog04.cpp and ampersand. So it is going to open the Geany editor, and it is going to open that program 4. So let us wait for some time till it opens the Geany editor, and here we have the program 4. So now let me increase the font size and here we can see the program. Okay, so I'm going to delete that bar part, the bar function, and here we are going to create one variable for our thread thing, that is first. Now we can also detach a thread and make it a separate daemon process. And the way to do that is very simple. I can just say first dot detach. So this is going to separate that thread from the main process, and it is going to create a daemon process corresponding to our thread. Now we can also check if a thread is joinable, and this is the very first time we are checking if a thread is joinable. And yes, so this is the program. So here we are creating the thread, we are printing the message that we are inside the main thread, then we are detaching the thread that we have created and making it a separate daemon process. Then we are checking if that thread is joinable, and we are joining that thread. So that's it. That is the easiest program with detach thing. Okay, now let us try to see if we can compile this program and if we can execute this program. Okay, so let us see if Genie is able to automatically compile this program using the thread library of C++. So we are going to click the compile button. So it says that compilation finished successfully here in this message. Okay, and let's execute it and let us see whether it is able to execute it without any hiccup. Okay, it says that the program not found. So I think that it is not able to execute it because of some problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Genie editor for writing the program, and I'm going to use the command prompt for compiling and execution of the program. So this way we will get best of the both the worlds. .cpp. And let us try to execute our program a.out. Yeah, and it is running perfectly without any problem. So first of all, it is printing the message inside main and the foo completed, main completed, and inside the routine foo. So all these things are running in parallel. That is why we are getting these messages in the jumbled format. Okay, so here now you can see the order of the messages that it is printing on the console is different. And every time we are going to run this, we are going to experience the same thing. Now let us make a copy of this program and let us see what we have in the store. Now let us see how we can copy a thread. And that is also quite easy. We are going to see a built-in function that is going to allow us to copy the thread. So prog05.cpp is the name of the program. And let us see what modifications we can make to this program. So the function or the worker function is going to be the same. So the function is also known as worker function. And yeah, here we have the first thread, and we can create a copy of thread with this syntax: second equals to move and first. And I will just delete the code where we are detaching it, and we will let it execute in the main thread itself. Now here we are going to check the joinability. second, and second, and let us make appropriate changes to the messages. Okay. Both the threads completed. Okay. So I have saved it. Let me minimize it and compile it with G++ compiler on Raspberry Pi OS. So here in this syntax, we are copying the first thread into the second thread. So this is only one line of code that we have seen in this example. And let us try to execute it and see how the output looks like. Okay, so this is how we can see both the threads in action. So let me clear this now and let us move on to the next example. So because of this multi-threading library, the examples are very, very easy. We really don't have to manage the threads, and we really don't have to worry about the allocating the memory and all this stuff. So that's why C and C++ are very much better than assembly programming. Now we are going to see how to print the process IDs of the parent process as well as the child process. So the main thread is also known as the parent process, and the thread that we are creating within that main is also known as child process. And every process, they will have their PIDs. So let us save them as prog06.cpp. So I will just delete this part where we are creating the second thread, and inside main, and just remove this thing joining of the second thing, and I will say foo completed. Okay, and here I'm going to print the IDs of the main thread as well as the child thread. std cout it is going to be std this thread get underscore id, and let's print a new line character. So std cout, and this is going to be the child thread id, first dot get id /n Control S. So it is going to save the program. Now let us go ahead and compile this, and prog06.cpp. So the very first line that we have added is the parent thread ID, and this is the child thread ID. So this is the thread ID of the main program. So let us demonstrate this by compiling and executing it. And let's execute it, a.out. And here we have the parent thread ID as well as child thread ID. So every time we are going to execute it, it is supposed to assign it a new ID, because every time it is creating new processes. Okay. And for clarity, you probably may want to add something like parent slash main id. Okay. And finally, child id. So let me compile it once again. And it compiled successfully. Let us execute that file a.out. And here we have the parent main ID and the child ID. So this is definitely cool because we can print the IDs of parent as well as the child programmatically. Now I want to know the concurrency offered by the hardware on which I am running this program, and that is also quite easy. So we know that the modern processor comes with built-in concurrency. It is multi-threaded or hyper-threaded processor with many physical cores. So I will say cp prog01.cpp into prog07.cpp, and let us open that prog07 thing. So file, open. Okay, I am not able to see prog07.cpp. So I will just close it and I will say genie prog07.cpp ampersand, and it will open that prog07.cpp in a separate window like this. So I just want to print the concurrency supported by hardware where I'm running all this stuff. So basically I told you already that I'm using a Raspberry Pi computer, and this Raspberry Pi OS is installed on a Raspberry Pi 3. So it should have 4 cores at least, I guess. I don't remember actually the hardware configuration of the Raspberry Pi revision that I'm using, because there are many models of Raspberry Pi and I don't actually remember all the specs. So number of threads that can run concurrently are so let me put it in new line and std thread hardware underscore concurrency and std endl. So this is how we can know the hardware level concurrency of our hardware. So all this concurrency and multi-threading also depends on your compiler as well as your hardware. So we are quite sure about compiler. Compiler is the G++. And let us check what sort of stuff our hardware is offering us. A.out. So if I'm not wrong, it is going to be 4. Yes, it is 4. Basically, it's a quad-core processor. That's why it is printing us 4. Now, if I try to run the same program on my Windows machine, it will probably show the output 8. Now, let us create an array of threads, and that is very, very easy. So I will again copy the already existing file, open an existing file. So it is prog01. I guess it is not able to show us the files that were not created by the tool Genie. So I will again say Genie prog01.cpp, and let us save that file as prog08.cpp. File, save as prog08.cpp. Okay, now we are going to make some massive modifications to this program because I want to create an array of threads, and that is quite possible in modern C++ compilers. We can create arrays of various types of objects, and inside thread number I std endl. So this is going to print us the thread number that is invoking this particular function. Okay, and let us remove this entire stuff. Now let us go to the main function, and I will remove the entire stuff except that main completed part. Now let us say std thread my threads. So these are not your threads, remember that. So 20, and let us write a for loop for int I equals to 0, I is less than 20, I plus plus. And here I'm going to assign the objects to these variables. So here I'm going to say std thread foo comma I, and I'm going to print here std cout inside the main thread /n inside main /n. Now again I will write another for loop for joining all the threads, because we have created the threads and it is our responsibility to synchronize and join them, and that is also quite easy. I will just say if my threads, not your threads, of I dot joinable, then I will say my threads of I dot join, and let me save this and execute this. So I hope that I haven't committed any sort of typing blunder while typing in these programs. Yeah, which is what I was afraid of. I think that I have created a lot of mistakes, and let us go ahead and debug them. So the very first thing that I can remember is that I haven't included the semicolon. So this is very bad habit because of Python programming language. So I blame Python programming for that, because there are no semicolons in Python programming and shell scripting also. There are semicolons, but they are not mandatory. Okay, now let us see what the problem is here. So it says that my threads hasn't been declared. Okay, so I guess it is my thread. Let us see what is the problem. So probably it must be the variable name that's causing the problem. Singular and plural stuff. So I have corrected the variable names. So everywhere I have used my threads, which is the plural, and the program compiled successfully. Let us execute it. And here we can see that it is able to execute the entire program without any hiccup. Okay, so from 0 to 19 it is printing everything, and we are printing it inside main. Okay, and see, we can actually see the output is a bit garbled because basically that std, okay, std.cout, this is also a resource and threads are accessing it in uncontrollable manner. So our next example is going to be writing a mutual exclusion lock so that it is going to access it in controlled manner. So we are just going to make a very small modification to this by adding a mutex, and let us save this as program09.cpp. Hash include mutex, and let us create a mutex m. Mutex stands for mutual exclusion, mutex m, and we just need to add 2 lines, I guess. So here we are going to say m.lock, and here we are going to say m.unlock, so the threads won't access it in uncontrolled fashion. Okay, so whenever a thread is going to access this resource std.cout, it is first going to acquire a lock on this, and then after printing it, it is going to release that lock so that there won't be anything known as a race condition. Now I will just go ahead and compile this normally. So I don't remember to have committed any sort of mistake. Okay, it does not name a type. Okay, I guess I forgot to do something. So basically, we will have to say here std mutex. Okay, so I hope that I will be able to execute it now without any problem. Okay, so I made a wrong declaration, or I did not declare it at all, that it's a part of that std thing. Okay, now it compiled successfully without any issues. Now I'm going to say a.out, and here we can see that it is accessing that stuff in the controlled fashion, and we are not actually getting any sort of garbled output. So earlier we were getting the garbled output because it was accessing that lock in uncontrolled fashion. So this is how we can work with mutual exclusion and thread, and this is how we can resolve the race condition. So this is all about multi-threading with C++ on Unix-like operating systems like Linux and FreeBSD. So I hope that you have understood the concepts that I have explained and demonstrated in this episode. And I intend to prepare another episode on the usage of mutex and concurrency related problems. So do let me know in the comment section what you think about this episode and what topic you want me to cover next. And please do not forget to like and share this video in case you want to continue watching my videos and continue to be notified. You can go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and your subscription is going to encourage me to create more and more educational content like that. Thanks a lot once again, and I will see you next time.